So, in 1887, Richard Mansfield performed a dramatized version of The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The novella had only come out a year before, written by Robert Louis Stevenson, and so the story was relatively new to both the reading public as well as anybody who might see it on stage. And he was a major success at this role. He performed it with such ferocity and such dynamics that it had a profound effect on the people that were watching it. In particular, there were reports that women fainted in the audience when he transformed into Mr. Hyde. And also, men were reported ambivalent about walking home alone after the show. So, apparently he was very effective, very scary in his transformation from Dr. Jekyll into Mr. Hyde. In 1888, a year later, he took the play to the Lyceum Theatre in London. And this is where the trouble began for Richard Mansfield. In 1888, London was right in the middle of the Jack the Ripper murders that were taking place. Very famous historical and as yet unsolved murders where young prostitutes were being killed in the street in London at night. Anyway, Richard Mansfield showed up and performed The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, just as he had done in America. And he was so effective in his transformation from Dr. Jekyll into Mr. Hyde that the audience members started to complain to Scotland Yard. Maybe, just maybe, this was the Jack the Ripper who was doing it, because how could a sane, reasonable person completely transform into another person on stage? In fact, it's very interesting how Richard Mansfield managed the transformation. His stage transformation was achieved by the use of grease paint underneath his normal makeup. The shadows that altered his facial features, they didn't show up in normal stage lighting. But over the course of his transformation from Dr. Jekyll into Mr. Hyde, he had filters changed on the lights. And these filters made it so the audience could see the deeper cut shadows in his face. On top of this, he contorted his face and he contorted his body, and it apparently was a miraculous transformation, pure stage magic. But because of the complaints that had come his way, he was brought in for questioning to Scotland Yard, and rumors started to spread about maybe this guy, Richard Mansfield, an Englishman now living in America, who had come back to London, maybe he was Jack the Ripper.